She grabbed my pregnant wife's wrist in my own hospital. She said Evelyn was pretending to faint to avoid a fine, but she had no idea the man she was insulting was the hospital's owner, me. I remember how still that room went, the kind of silence that cuts the air. I told her low and even, "Get your hands off my wife." And the look on her face, that was the moment everything changed. Her name was Nora Caldwell, president of the Willowcrest HOA, the kind of woman who believed control was the same as virtue. Perfect hair, perfect smile, clipboard, always ready like a weapon disguised as policy. I thought I'd left the chaos of hospital politics behind when I moved here. But Willowcrest had its own disease her. Evelyn and I had moved in 2 years ago looking for quiet. She was 7 months pregnant now, on partial bed rest, fragile but stubborn. I built her a ramp myself so she could get outside in her wheelchair. Fresh air, sunlight, something normal again. It wasn't fancy. Cedar wood steel bolts, hand-sanded edges. But to her, it meant freedom. 2 days later, a letter showed up. Unapproved structure. Fine $2,000, signed in looping cursive, Nora Caldwell. I appealed. She tripled the fine. She said the ramp ruined the symmetry of the neighborhood. You ever meet someone so obsessed with control they forget what decency looks like? That was her. Then came the night at the ER. Evelyn's blood pressure spiked, no ambulance, no time, so I drove her myself. We'd barely sat down when Nora marched in heels, clicking like gunfire, clipboard in hand. "She can't sit here," she told the nurse. "This section's for patients, not homeowners pretending to faint." I thought I misheard her. But then she reached out, grabbed my wife's wrist, and tried to pull her up. That's when I stood. "She's 7 months pregnant," I said, "and she was told to sit." Nora gave me this smug little smirk. "Your wife's been ignoring our notices for weeks. Sympathy doesn't grant immunity." So I stopped her hand mid-motion. "You're making a mistake, Mrs. Caldwell." "Oh, really? And who exactly are you to tell me what a mistake is?" I met her eyes and said, "I'm the man who signs your property's medical coverage contracts, and you just assaulted a patient inside my hospital." She froze. Her smirk tried to stay, but you could see the tremor in her jaw. The nurse rushed to help Evelyn, and for a second Nora looked small, still cruel but cornered. "This isn't over," she hissed. "Oh, it's just beginning," I told her. "Because what you did tonight isn't HOA policy. It's a crime." She stormed out into the rain. I watched her silhouette vanish through the glass doors, and for the first time in months, I wasn't thinking like a doctor. I was thinking like a man whose home had become a battlefield. The next morning there was another notice taped to our door, $7,000 fine. Same signature, same arrogance. Evelyn asked softly, "She'll never stop, will she?" "She will," I said, "just not the way she expects." I spent that day walking the ramp, running my hand along the rails. Every plank held a memory. Evelyn smiling, breathing fresh air again, finally able to reach the mailbox without help. That ramp wasn't a violation. It was love made visible. But love doesn't matter to people like Nora. Only control does. Later that day, I saw Eli Vargas, HOA accountant, sitting in his SUV at the end of the street. He looked terrified, rolled down his window halfway and whispered, "Dr. Rowan, she's already told everyone your wife faked her condition. She's trying to suspend your voting rights." That's how tyrants work. Smear, isolate, dominate. I leaned closer and said, "You've seen how she manipulates funds, haven't you?" He flinched. "I can't talk about that. She made us sign NDAs." "You already are," I said. "Every day you stay quiet." He drove off without another word. That night Evelyn sat curled on the couch, phone in her hand. She posted a statement, she said. "Says you threatened her at the hospital." The lies were surgical, just enough truth to sound believable, just enough distortion to ruin me. I walked to my study, logged into the hospital's security archive, and pulled the footage Nora Caldwell dragging my pregnant wife by the wrist. Time-stamped, clear, undeniable. Proof. I uploaded it to a private cloud server. The red progress bar crawled across the screen one slow inch at a time. When it hit 100%, I whispered, "That's step one." The next morning, I visited the HOA office. Eli was there, pale, jittery. "You shouldn't be here," he said. "She monitors visitors." "She's dangerous," I told him, "but not untouchable. You have the evidence, use it." He looked down. She threatened to ruin my mortgage. I've got kids in college. She already owns you, I said. Is that how you want your kids to see you? He hesitated, eyes glassy. She thinks she owns this neighborhood. Then it's time she learned what ownership really means. Nora's voice echoed from the hallway. Eli went stiff. I slipped him a card, Detective Ramos, Internal Affairs. He used to work under me, I said. Call him. By the time I left, Eli looked like a man on the edge of choosing courage. But Nora struck first. That afternoon, flyers appeared on every mailbox, my photo under the headline, Local Man Threatens HOA President Inside ER. Evelyn picked one up, trembling. She's turning them against us. She's trying to rewrite the story, I said. But I've got the original script. An hour later, Nora herself pulled up in a sleek black sedan, lowered her window, smiled that politician's smile. You could have avoided this, doctor, if you just followed the rules. Rules don't protect anyone when you weaponize them. She tilted her head. You think this is about power. It's about order. People move here for peace, and you're making them feel unsafe. By building a ramp for my wife, her smile widened. You'd be amazed what fear can justify. Then she handed me an envelope suspension notice. I didn't open it. The only investigation happening now, I said, is into you. For the first time, her mask cracked. You think you can scare me? No, I said. The truth will do that for me. That night, Eli called. She's panicking, he whispered. She's doubling fines for anyone who talks to you. But I found proof she's been rerouting funds into an escrow account under her sister's name. Send it, I told him, and keep copies. The next morning, I filed a county compliance audit request. Once the audit hit, every fake report she'd buried would resurface. By noon, Ramos confirmed. Audit approved. We're moving. When I came home that evening, Evelyn was pale. She's outside again, she said, taking pictures of the ramp. I looked through the blinds. Nora stood with a man in a suit, her attorney. We're conducting a compliance review, he announced. Without 24-hour notice, you're trespassing, I said. You've ignored every order we've issued, Nora shot back. You issued crimes, not orders, and by tomorrow you'll be answering for both. Her jaw tightened. The man glanced at her, confused. She turned away, heels clicking hard against the pavement. That night, as rain rolled in again, I sat at my desk sorting through Eli's files. Fake invoices, forged signatures, the same initials over everyone NC. She wasn't just cruel, she was corrupt. The storm broke around midnight, thunder shaking the windows. I looked out at the ramp gleaming under the streetlight. Evelyn asleep upstairs safe. And I knew what came next, exposure. 2 days later, the audit team arrived at Willow Crest's community hall. Residents packed the room, tension so thick you could feel it hum. Nora walked in like she still owned the place, red blazer, sunglasses, smile painted on. This is harassment, she declared. Our records are impeccable. Then you won't mind us reviewing them, said the lead auditor. I stood near the back, silent. When she finally saw me, her expression faltered. You, she spat. You leaked that video. No, I said. Your actions did. The auditor flipped through files. Mrs. Caldwell, why were maintenance funds rerouted to your sister's account? That's a clerical error, she stammered. And the repeated authorizations under your login, her voice cracked. My staff. Enough, said the auditor. Your authority is suspended pending investigation. That word hung in the air, suspended. The crowd gasped. Eli stepped forward, pale but steady. There's more, he said, handing over a flash drive. Backdated transactions, falsified approvals. I can testify she made me do it. Nora turned on him, shaking. You coward! He met her glare. You didn't protect us. You used us. The room erupted. Cameras flashed. Ramos moved in, calm but firm. Nora tried to speak, but her voice broke completely. You'll regret this, she whispered as she stormed out. Maybe, I said quietly. But at least I'll regret it in peace. And just like that, her empire cracked. That evening, Ramos called. She's lawyered up, but Vargas is talking. We'll have a full case by Friday. Friday Town Assembly. It wasn't just a meeting anymore. It was Judgment Day. The pavilion filled fast. Neighbors who used to avoid eye contact now whispered like witnesses before a verdict. Nora arrived last Navy suit this time, like she thought changing colors would hide the blood on her hands. She smiled at the crowd. I know recent events have caused confusion, she began, voice sweet as honey. But we're a family, and families forgive. I stepped up and took the mic. You've spoken long enough. It's time they heard from the people you silenced. Eli joined me on stage, voice trembling but clear. For years, Mrs. Caldwell directed me to reroute HOA funds into personal accounts. I forged documents under her orders. Every dollar she stole came from you. The crowd gasped. I clicked the remote and the projector lit up behind us. Spreadsheets, emails, her digital signature. Then the video, Nora grabbing Evelyn's wrist in the ER. Silence. Heavy absolute. Nora shouted, "He's lying." I pointed to the screen. You called it order. It was control. You called it community. It was coercion. And tonight it's called what it truly is, abuse. Someone started clapping, then another, then everyone. Ramos stepped forward, badge glinting under the lights. "Mrs. Caldwell, you're under arrest for fraud, embezzlement, and harassment." Nora's lawyer tried to intervene, but she just stood there frozen. The crowd parted as she was led out, her perfect posture finally broken. For a moment no one spoke. Then the applause started again, not wild, not vengeful, just relieved. I looked around at the faces of my neighbors. The same people who once watched in silence now stood tall, unafraid. And as Nora disappeared through those glass doors, I realized something. We hadn't just exposed a tyrant. We'd reminded ourselves what decency looks like when someone finally stands up for it. Power without empathy isn't leadership, it's tyranny.